If dance is the oldest of the arts, it's also the most mysterious, for it communicates through the silent languages of the body. Here we probe into the meaning of dance by focusing on one of the key elements of this little understood expressive system, on palm play. The palm, or inner hand, is handled in many ways in the dances of the world. Indonesian dancers use their palms flirtatiously. Polynesian women present their palms provocatively. Palm play has an important role in courtship and in sexual relationships. In this wooing scene from a Thai dance drama, the lady struggles to keep her palms free. She's won when her palm is captured and firmly held. In certain formal dances of the Far East, propriety demands that the palm be entirely covered, not only by women, but by men. Like these Torres Islanders, male dancers in half the world hold objects in their hands, thus neutralizing the palm. In Africa, we discovered, dancers often present both palms open. To learn more about this sometimes enigmatic signal, we'll go back to the wellspring of human culture. We'll begin in Africa, with the basis of human sociability, with the sensitive, naked skin, and with touch, the interpersonal sense. The pleasure-giving touch of the palm or inner hand on skin ties the social knot. The warm contact of the palm holds friends together. It links lovers in the ancient harmony of souls and epidermises. This is evening in a Gond youth village, where girls are grooming their lovers. The palm is a main conduit of loving contact and of tenderness. The mother's palm welcomes the baby into its culture. It shapes the prime social unit of mother and child. The infant learns trust in its mother's hands and experiences society as it is passed from palm to palm round the family circle. These New York kids practice one kind of interaction in their palm play.
See what he can do. Drink all the water. Ate all the soap. He tried to eat the bathtub, but it was just salt.
And these Bushman boys follow a far different system with their polyrhythm. In this American schoolgirl's game, palms are presented, slapped, and clapped, and the torso begins to undulate, as we found it tends to do when palms are opened out in dance. In Africa, grown women play palm games before their children, showing off their feminine hand skills. Wise women like this Pomo Indian shaman have used their palms to stroke away illness since time began. A Jahat Malay medicine man at work. He wipes illness out of a child's back, then whisks it away. A Bushman baby reaches out to the healer's palm as it vibrates against its belly. This was filmed at an evening dance where men become possessed and heal the sick. The possessed man needs aid himself. He finds it in the lap of a comrade whose palms gently vibrate against his temples until he sleeps. palm blessing. An Orinoco Indian shaman soothes an anxious follower with a palm gesture that is general in religion. Among Protestants,
raise your right hand and pray with me, please. Father, in the name of Jesus, in behalf of every soul listening today and watching this telecast.
Among Catholics, among Vodouists. Palms bless the scene as the cult leader transmits healing power to his acolytes through his hands. A Bushman woman offers her palms like an entrance ticket to the dance circle and then settles down to palm play. Palm to palm, partner to partner in an alpine dance. Palms cement friendship, seal off enmity, and renew relationships. These are Tuaregs at a Saharan market. Between greetings, the palm is shrouded. In fact, palm communication seems so potent and the palm so vulnerable that in many cultures it's sparingly exposed. Mideasterners smear henna on the palm of a new bride to protect her as she sets forth weeping into matrimony. Thai dancers wear fringes of long nails when they expose their palms. In the not-so-distant past, no nice lady would go out without her gloves on. Men hide this sensitive area in their pockets. And all of us withdraw at times by hiding our palms in our armpits. Or in other ways. One way is to hold things. All sorts of things. Thus the palm, a prime mover in social interaction, is often hard to observe in scenes of everyday life. We study dance because the stylized coordination of dancing makes the patterns of body movement, including those of the palm, easier to observe. Here's open palm in an African bird dance. Here's covered palm in this South American bird dance. The holding palm is significantly more frequent in male dancers, while female dancers more often present both palms open, as here in Africa. Such observations became the basis of the continuum of palm play. Presented, holding, covered. We have located the 500-plus dances in our world sample along this continuum, and within it found 6 types of palm activity whose frequencies vary significantly in terms of culture. These 6 points along the palm scale will now be illustrated so that you can learn to recognize them. Point 1, covered. The elaborate shrouding of feminine palms in this Korean court dance seem to represent the rigid code of propriety that governed feminine behavior in old Korea. Such codes of etiquette and the palm covering that symbolizes them seems to be characteristic of the stratified cultures of East Asia, such as Old Korea and the Kingdom of Nepal. There, class and caste split society into upper and lower strata, with the ruler on top. This is a dance from rural Nepal. The fact that the women wear long sleeves and the men do not indicates that long sleeves are worn out of feminine modesty. Probably another factor is the Arctic weather of East Asia and its antecedent cultures. The hands need protection from the cold in this part of the world. The bird totem dance, so common in the North Pacific, may be the ritual source of palm covering. Hunters hide their human hands beneath wings of feathers so as to identify with the eagles whose skill in finding game they wish to share. Wearing wings of plastic, these Japanese folk dancers perform the dance of the heron. Here from the city street is a link between the totemic bird dance and courtly gagaku. In gagaku, the soaring movement of silken wings, the beaked mask, the fish embroidering the sleeves renew the predatory hunter theme. The lavish display of expensive silk in these big sleeves makes them the symbol of conspicuous consumption for the rich. And since manual labor is obviously impossible for anyone dressed like this, these sleeves also exhibit the conspicuous leisure of the powerful ruling classes, especially of their womenfolk. Indeed, in Chinese theater, noble characters may be identified by their elaborate manipulation of big sleeves. Again, linking palm covering to social layering. Covered, point 1 on the scale of palm play. Point 2, partly covered. A Chinese actress draws attention to the erogenous center of her palm by partly covering it with a pink handkerchief. An Indonesian dancer emphasizes the act of partially draping her palm. A bevy of Chinese dancers play with ribbons, intermittently covering their palms, while a complex orchestra accompanies the dance. Both of these are symbols of class societies, such as Old Tibet. Partly and intermittently covered was a general feature in Tibetan dances. In fact, all through Eurasia. This is a Cretan kolo, one of the many handkerchief dances of the Mediterranean. Close inspection shows that the woman's palm is intermittently covered. In the English Morris dance, hands are also partly covered. This example comes from the western limits of old Eurasian influence. Point 3 on the scale, the interning palm. The palms are withdrawn by being continually turned in toward the body, with one palm occasionally visible. Interning is found in the Far East, for instance, in this Burmese solo, but is commonest in the complex cultures of the Middle East and Europe, where the withdrawal of the palm seems to symbolize the restraint and alienation essential in a stratified society. This is a Persian Tajik farmer dancing with courtly grace. Here's a ballet star from Uzbekistan in Central Asia, exhibiting her virtuosity in palm control. North Indian maidens dancing the way their ancestors might have done to welcome Alexander the Great, with twisting hips and interning palms. This same sensuous combination is employed by Spanish flamenco dancers. Note the man offering love with an open hand, while the woman replies with coiling, interning palms. It is this palm style that dominates the dances of Europe, including the ballet itself. The prince pursues. The black swan signals him to wait and dances for him with elaborately interning palms and with a similar pattern of opening and closing lower limbs. this presenting and withdrawing behavior is perhaps intended to perplex the prince. Maneuvers that conceal the inner hand are found mainly in the large stratified societies of Europe and Asia. In such cultures, the palm with its nurturing, sharing, erotic message is sparingly presented. Indeed, stratified urban settings generally put restraints upon the public expression of affect, especially by women. Holding in neutral the positions of every day. In one, the palm encloses something. In neutral, it hangs free, facing the body. Though common in simple socio-economies, holding or neutral occurs in 70% of the dances we studied. These are East European shepherds in a midwinter ritual snake dance, holding on to each other. In the Andes, the viejitos, the little old men, hold on to their walking sticks. These are Pueblo Indian deer dancers, holding sticks so they can dance on all fours. Holding is the general practice among the tribes of the Circum-Pacific, where males dominate public ceremonies. Males usually carry emblems of their ritual or productive status to the dance ground, and this is understandable, for after all, males have long been the principal makers and users of tools. Sudanese cattlemen dance with the herding sticks that are seldom out of their hands. Men of the Torres Straits dance with a conical fish trap in one hand and a spear in the other, identifying themselves as fishermen and defenders of their island homes. A guild of German barrel makers handle the green May garlands in a regimented style that shows off the potency of a well-drilled male group. In complex cultures, even in the theater, signs of the Solidary Male Defense Group register as the symbols of state power. And regimented manipulation is everywhere the sign of military might. Point 4, holding. Point 5, neutral. The empty-handed style, the dancers showing that they have no weapons, no axe to grind. These are West Africans. Here, in the Amazon jungle, the men wear masks and carry rattles. The women go bare, with empty hands, their bodies declaring them. Women, in their dances, very often seem to be enacting the joy of life where hands are empty because tools and emblems are in the way. These are Vezo women of Madagascar. These are Wakambas from Central Africa, again with empty hands. These are women of the sea gypsies who still live by gathering shellfish along the shores of the Gulf of Burma. Food collecting is probably the first and oldest mode of subsistence, and it is usually women's work. Food gathering is the subsistence style of these African pygmies, and you see that both the men and the women are dancing with empty hands. Among the Bushmen, who are African desert gatherers, everything is shared. They dance turn on turn, a neutral palm becoming an open invitation to join in. From this point, the two main dancers accent open palm presentation, point 6 on the scale. A pygmy female religious leader opens out both palms at hip level in a primordial gesture of giving. This is a scene from the beginning of religion. Presentation of both palms is most frequent where women produce half or more of the food. Such are the Ainu, the Aborigines of Japan, here inviting the spirits to a feast with both hands open. Among the California Indians, women produce the staple food, acorn flour, and here a female shaman prepares to find and heal the illness in her patient by stroking him with the same palm movement she uses to smooth the gravel filter that leaches the poison out of her Aiken flower. Flower making, comforting, healing, all are traditional feminine preoccupations. All are performed with smoothing movements of the open palm. The curved palms and the undulating gait of these Polynesian women of Tau Island convey the same gentle message. From a complementary culture where women have leading roles in public ceremonies. These dancers are from Fiji, where women often rule as queens. These dancers are Dayaks of Borneo, where women can and do inherit the land they work. This is a Bodo priestess from complementary tribal India. Her open palms invite her acolytes to present their palms in turn. More palm display, this time from Madagascar, another land where women often lead in ritual. Indeed, all through the gardening tropics, wherever women take public roles, palm presentation is present in the dance. In Africa, in a settlement of Africans in Suriname. In a bird dance of West Africa, this time done by women, with loving symbols of opened out palms and bare bodies. Another African bird dance, not predatory but erotic, the gentle mating dance of the crested crane. Clapping hands, bare undulating torsos, cooing voices, all ancient feminine magic, all invitations to join in. The symbolic power of the palm may come from its feminine nurturant role. For here in this gardening world where women produce and hand round the food, the caress becomes the central gesture of the dance. It's also the baseline of the palm continuum. The holding palm is the midsection. The withheld palm is the opposite extreme. Each of the 6 types of palm play along the continuum represents one way this potent signal is handled in a region of culture. Point 1, covered. Commonest in the Far East, where display of affect is governed by strict rules of etiquette. Point 2, part covered, seen from Indonesia to the Mediterranean. Point 3, interned. All Eurasia, especially Indonesia and Europe. Point 4, holding, a male specialty in the Circum-Pacific. Point 5, neutral, most frequent in simple economies and in female dances. Point 6, presented, characteristic of the complementary world. The vibrant, wide-open palms of these Maasai girls rehearse their nurturant roles. Backstage, a drama, a child reaching out for contact, fingers spreading the inner hand wide. Its touch a signal for the magic to begin. First, 2 wide-open palms give him the love he seeks. And then they lift him up and support him as he views the world.
This is